Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Well, we got a brand new one here, and it's a very juicy one because Joe Kent has just done an interview with Tucker Carlson, and he says that he was blocked from investigating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Says the last thing Charlie told him was to stop the U.S. from getting into a war with Iran. Let's get right down to it. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button.
We still don't know what happened in Butler. We don't know what happened with Charlie Kirk. And by no means am I saying the Israelis did this or any of that, but I'm saying there's a lot of unanswered questions there. And there is enough data to at least say that there's a good chance that President Trump feels like he is under threat. We're not allowed to ask, basically, was there any linkage between what took place with Asif Merchant, who was recruited by the Iranians to come to America to recruit proxies to kill President Trump. The FBI put a confidential human source at him. All this is public now. This is all out there in the open. And he's arrested, and then 2 days later, a sniper takes a shot at President Trump. We think Merchant and the we know the CHS was talking about the human source that the FBI put at Merchant. They were talking about, hey, we could kill the president potentially with a sniper rifle. But then they arrest him. 2 days later, Butler happens. And Crooks, according to the official narrative anyways, is an enigma. We don't know anything about him. We can't get into his devices. If we did get into his devices, maybe there's nothing there. No more questions are allowed to be asked about Thomas Crooks. And then, Charlie Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way. And we're not really even allowed to look into that at all. And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't particularly close with Charlie. He was very gracious to me when I was running for Congress, very, very supportive. So we knew each other. And the last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing, in the stairway. And I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and you've been in the West Wing, it's small, it's a tight space. And he said, Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran, very loudly.
He was single-minded.
And he walked off, and he went, I believe, into the Oval. So when one of President Trump's closest advisors, who is vocally advocating for us to not go to war with Iran and for us to rethink at least our relationship with the Israelis, and then he's suddenly publicly assassinated, and we're not allowed to ask any questions about that. It's a data point. It's a data point that we need to look into.
What do you mean when you say we're not allowed to ask any questions about that?
We've been told that this individual, Robinson, is a lone gunman, and maybe he is. But the investigation that I was a part of, the National Counterterrorism Center was a part of, we were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI will say that they stopped that because they wanted to turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive. But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into. But there was still linkage for us to investigate that we needed to run down. And I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not saying
no, I don't think you are.
Because of this happened. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's unanswered questions. We know the pressure because of the text messages that have been made public that Charlie was under a lot of pressure from a lot of pro-Israel donors. And again, we know Charlie was advocating to President Trump against this war with Iran. And we knew at the end of the 12-day war, at the end of Midnight Hammer, that the Israelis were going to come back and ask us to go back to war again.
Right.
So we have a lot of data points between Butler, the assassination attempts against President Trump, the breaches of his security, what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Can I just ask you to pause on the Charlie Kirk because it upsets me to hear what you're saying, to be reminded that he was murdered, but also to hear you confirm what was reported in the media several months ago, that your office had been blocked from investigating his murder. That does not make sense to me.
Wow. And of course, we're going to be reacting to more of this as more clips and more stuff like that come out about Joe Kent on Tucker Carlson. But I mean, what do you make out of that? I mean, what do you make out of it? I mean, it's unbelievable. He wasn't allowed to keep investigating. They told him just, it is what it is. He's a lone gunman, which could be the situation, but why not keep investigating? Why not keep getting into the details? very disturbing to say the least. Very disturbing to say the least. And of course, now this is very public, public thing now that Charlie was against any war, any involvement with the U.S. in Iran. That's just public. And listen, I'm not a conspiracy person. I'm not really. However, I will say that first of all, I don't. Candace Owens, she's a conspiracy theorist if there is one out there. She's an extreme one, but she's been saying this, not buying what they're telling her, which a lot of people don't believe. And of course, if you know information like Joe Kent has, then you would probably doubt, what's going on. Why not keep digging into more? Not making any conclusions, not hinting anything, but why not keep going deep into it? Now, I think it's horrific what Candace Owens has done with Erica Kirk. I don't think that is something that is good. I think it's been evil. I think she was the wrong target to focus on. You could have focused on the government, on Israel if you want to, on Iran if you want to, because the lifestyle that Charlie Kirk lived, clearly he can be an enemy to anybody, really. Iran, Israel, anybody, right? Because anybody that's against his way of living, and that we all try to follow, is good Christian men or women. And but it's very disturbing. They didn't let him continue to find more information about this. It's very odd. It's very odd, and it is upsetting, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you keep going deep into it? I mean, he was a close advisor to the president. He was at a young age, 31 years of age, very close, very deep in the White House. Is unheard of, I would think, unless you were Kennedy when you were young, but you were born into it. Charlie Kirk was a self-made man when it came to politics. And it's very disturbing, very disturbing. He mentions that there was still a lot for us, him and the team, to look into that he can't really get into. But there was a linkage for them to investigate that, they needed to run down, and they weren't allowed to. I mean, what do you think? It's a very, very disturbing situation. I mean, I don't ever want to make any conclusion without knowing any evidence. I mean, some people talk about Israel. Some people said it was a hit job. I completely denounce anybody trying to hint or suggest that Erica Kirk had anything to do with this, because that woman has been suffering. Her kids have been suffering. And it's just devastating what they're going through, clearly, and what she continues to be put through by some people in the media. But it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities that this was something much bigger. However, that's also the thing. Who is telling the truth is the biggest question here. Because, why wouldn't you trust the FBI and the people that were involved in this? Why wouldn't you trust them? I mean, listen, anybody, if you live in rural America, a 30 out 6, it's easy. You don't need training for that. And as far as he wasn't in an extreme far away position to say, wow, what a shot. No, it's an easy shot that unfortunately was accurate and lethal. And it's devastating. Every time I see Charlie's footage, and I just try to avoid it, because it's very painful. Very, very painful. And because he should be here. He should be here. But I also believe that if President Trump, if he was one of your top advisors, if he had your ear, if you trusted him, I mean, we should have dug into every single possibility. And maybe that's it. There's nothing more to it. And by the way, I urge people not to believe in this anti-Semite conspiracy theories either. Joe Kent didn't say anything about Israel or accusing anybody. He was clearly speaking his truth, what he believes is the truth, and what he experienced. So he didn't blame or name anybody. At this point, at this time in age, it feels like we have to clarify every time we talk about Israel on everything. You just got to clarify it for some reason. And There's no such thing as insights. Just because you speak of Israel or maybe criticize or just point something out or just ask a question doesn't make you're anti-Israel or anti-Jew at all. Very telling. We're going to see what else comes up when it comes to Joe Kent's interview with Tucker Carlson. I'm sure a lot more will come out of this. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button. Most importantly, let me know what you think in the comment section below about this particular story. And I will try to reply to as many comments as I can because I want to have a conversation with you about this whole thing. So thank you very much. I'll see you on the next one.